Hey everybody.
Hi.
I'm so happy to see you. Um, I know some of you get a little gritty about me when I'm late, so I'm sorry. I wanted to be nice and on time for you today. Today has been a really good day. I don't want to complain, but it's also been a really strange day, and also I don't feel good. So I ended up with a super bug. So I got sick. I took a small round of antibiotics, and then this thing came back 10 times as strong. So I'm actually really, really sick. Um, but I sure did put my makeup on and come in today. So, and I'm very prepared for class. Um, but I wanted to apologize because I've been trying to be more on time and punctual, and because we have some people who really are very 3D, and I appreciate it. I know, and I also want to respect your time, and your time is valuable. So, I apologize for being a few minutes late today, and I hope to feel better soon. I'm not getting out of bed this weekend if I can help it, so I might go live once or twice, but only if I feel better. So I appreciate all the good wishes. I really did feel the wave of energy. You know, when the group went live yesterday, or not live, but when everybody was kind of sending their energy, which I think was 5 p.m. It was 5 p.m. Pacific time, my time. I kind of sat back and received, and I just want to say thank you. That was really beautiful. So thank you for taking, those of you who took the time to send good energy. I want you to know it was very meaningful and impactful, because I will tell you, I slept better last night than I've slept in 2 weeks. So thank you for all of that good loving. I really absolutely felt it. I took a few minutes and sat and just received. And I don't do that very often. I don't like to ask for help and support. It's hard, you know. And I didn't ask for this, you offered, but it's hard for me to receive sometimes, so thank you for taking time. Yeah, I have a very serious upper respiratory infection that I'm trying to prevent from becoming bronchitis or pneumonia, so your continued good wishes are appreciated. Um, you may need to turn on the music, I don't know, but if it gets loud, and honestly, I can't hear it all, so if I'm hearing it, it might be like at 3,000 decibels. So bear with me. I hope you enjoyed Sweet Sweet Randy. Isn't he just a delight?
He's so lovely. Like he's just such a sweet person. Like I
He's a jewel. He really
yeah.
is. And so anyway, if you missed it for any reason, I hope you'll go back and watch, because it was really sweet. It was a beautiful session, and he wants to do it again. You know. So stay tuned. We'll come up with something else, because he was like, "Don't you feel like we had more to say?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? There's always more to say." So yeah, I really I hope you enjoyed that time, because he enjoyed it too, and it's very sincere between him and me. We really have developed this really cool friendship, and he's as authentic as they come. Alexis would tell you, he was no different before we started rolling on camera or after. I mean, that's just what you see is what you get with him,
Yeah. His energy was consistent the entire time.
and his girls
They're so sweet.
made me art while we were
Oh.
I don't know, while we were live. Little origami box and a crane, and Sage wrote me a letter. So anyway, he's just a good soul.
Oh, they drew the Om symbol. That's
I know, she did it. I was just like, look at you, girl. So anyway, thank you. He's an amazing human being, and if you ever are looking for a coach, you know, I don't do that stuff. I wish I could. I don't have time. But he's someone I would recommend if you're looking for one-on-one support. And I'm not saying that to promote him or what he does at all. But sometimes you guys are looking for people, and he's heartfelt, he's sincere, and he's really talented. So, okay, so welcome to session 4 of your experience for March. I can't believe we're at the end of March. So much to talk about today. So it's really interesting because I had the most impactful dream last night. I started prepping class a couple days ago, and last night I woke up and I couldn't sleep, so I was going back through my notes, and I'm going to talk about a couple things today. The concept of resonance more broadly, okay? Because we are talking about chimes today, but and you have a worksheet.
Oh, did I forget? I'm so sorry. I forgot to give you your printed copy.
That's all right.
Oh.
Mine doesn't look like yours, but whatever.
It's not as pretty, but it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Don't think I have something special that you don't have.
You guys get the special treatment.
You have a special one and I don't. I'm sorry, there's like something stuck on my face. I'm trying to. No, I'm alright.
I see
I
your
don't know.
hair kind of here.
It's a doinger.
It's kind of like you've got like some hair. Is that what you were feeling?
Yeah, it's better.
There
It's like in my eye. So anyway, we do have a worksheet, and I'll point to it a little bit. This worksheet for me is everything you need to know that's kind of background, right? So noise versus sound, healing sounds of nature. But I'm not going to go through this in detail because I've got a lot to talk about that's not in your notes. So I'm going to focus there. I want to talk about resonance today, and from a physics perspective. Okay, we're going to talk about nature. And sound, because chimes are meant to be outdoors most of the time. We're going to talk about the four winds, and we're going to talk about Koshi chimes in addition to your chime that we gave you as your tool. Your chime is made of brass on a black cord, and it has 5 notes from top to bottom, B, E, A, C, D. And I'm going to talk about the chakras that, and I may have to take cough drops the whole time, just bear with me.
You got this.
We're doing the thing.
That suppressant's helping me a lot. I'm still kind of coughing, but not nearly as much.
Right?
Yeah.
I found this amazing cough suppressant on Amazon. It's like a double, triple dose of the cough suppressant in Mucinex on Amazon. So if you want a recommendation, it's the best cough suppressant that I've been able to find. Beats anything I found in CVS. So anyway, we'll talk about the note tonight too. And then I want to talk about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems a little bit. So we're going to be kind of bouncing a lot over different topics, but they're all kind of related, and we'll see where you have the greatest interest, and we can spend more time on certain things and less time on other things. Yeah, I'll post a picture of the medicine for you later. You can get it on Amazon. And then I have a little bit I want to read to you from my computer. So I have my computer here to a website where we're going to talk about the four winds. So that's kind of my intention for tonight. A lot's happening. Okay, so I'm going to back up, and then of course there's Q&A, and want to hear all your thoughts. Jared and Alexis have made a little video clip of me in my garden with my favorite chimes.
Would you like to show that next?
Would you like to see it now?
All right, so we did something exciting, all thanks to Jared.
Thank you, Jared.
He actually put the clip here so that we can show you. So you guys aren't going to see or hear Athena for a couple minutes, but you can watch her video on her chimes. Enjoy!
Well, hi everybody. Since we are talking about the magic of chimes and sound in outdoor spaces, I wanted to show you some of my favorite chimes here in my garden. The wind has kind of turned things around, but this is a chime that I love that Team SG bought me when we were in Tucson. And this is a chime that my mom bought me. I have 2 from my mom that she bought me before she died. And when it's windy, you can hear it, and when the light goes through the glass, it's so beautiful. And then I have a couple of other chimes in my garden that I wanted to show you. My little squirrel just ran by. His name is Ralph, and he likes peanuts. This is my favorite chime from my mom. And I don't often hear it because the wind doesn't come through here very often, but I love how it's nestled in my jasmine arch that my dad planted for me eons ago. And then this is a chime that Hillary bought me, who's in our community. And I have a couple more down here, at least one more down here to show you. And so we're going to be talking about the magic of sound and the elements. This is a gong chime that Brooklyn bought me. I have to untie these now because the wind and the rain and elements have kind of wreaked havoc on them. And then that is a chime from Denise in our community. This bottle chime back here. And it's time to start picking up my lemons. She's delivering my beautiful lemon tree. the garden's so happy because we've had so much rain. But I just want to share a little bit of some of my favorite chimes from my garden, and we'll talk more about why the magic of sound is so important in outdoor spaces when we get together. See you soon.
We're back. How fun was that?
Kind of fun to take you through my garden yesterday. And it actually is, after rain here in Southern California, we do get kind of, good winds that come through. And so everything was moving and grooving last night. So that was a fun chance to show you a little bit of that from my garden. My garden is soaked. It's saturated. I'm a little worried about some of my more tropical plants. They're not used to getting that much, consistent rain. So some of them look like they're kind of getting that root rot that happens when there's too much water. But every time we've thought about moving a couple of times, and every time I think about moving, it was like I had my first house that I bought was in San Diego, 2003. And I landscaped the whole thing myself and built a beautiful garden. It was a really small house, but a big yard. And after we moved away, a few years later, I went back and, knocked on the door and I used to live here. And they're like, oh, come on in. And, people do. And sometimes, unless they think you're a freak, but they let me come in and see my old house. And I looked out to the garden and everything was dead. And they were like, yeah, I had a really beautiful garden, but it took so much water, we just couldn't maintain it. And I was looking around, I'm like, sometimes it's better not to know. So I don't know. Honestly, it would literally break my heart in half to see someone not maintain my yard. So I don't know. For now, I'm not going anywhere, so that's my plan. But it's always nice to share my garden with you because there's a lot of love there. Every plant has a story because the yard did not look like that when I moved into that house 8 years ago. It was, there was a big cedar hedge that was dead. So I had my landscaper, who's my friend, take that out and then put, fruit trees and stuff. And so almost everything there is, new to us. And the bench where my peacock is was completely overgrown. I didn't know there was a bench when we bought the house. I thought it was a hedge. And then one day I was out there, kind of trimming things, and I looked under the hedge, and I'm like, there's a bench. So I had my friend come, and I'm like, let's just start cutting this back. And I'm like, this is a gorgeous bench. It's kind of arch-shaped, and so my friend Sherry came and painted a peacock on there during COVID. And so anyway, the house looked so different when we bought it, when we moved in. They were very hardworking people who spent no time in the house, according to them, and they were not interested in gardening or plants or anything. So I kind of took it over as my pet project, and I do it with a lot of love. Yeah, it's hard to go back. I probably wouldn't go back again. I in hindsight, that wasn't the right thing to do, but it's better to leave things as they are in your memories sometimes, So anyway, and I get that from my mom and my grandma. In fact, I have out front of Sage Goddess here in Carson are my grandmother's succulents that she grew. My grandma's been gone 25 years. So those were her succulents from 30, 40 years ago that my mom took over. And when my mom died, my dad just didn't have the energy to keep watering everything. So I have my grandmother's original succulents outside of SG right now, which makes me really happy. Every time I come into the office, I get to see my grandma's plants, and they're not fancy, it's just her succulents, but she loved those plants and took care of them, and it's really cool to have them growing here and thriving here. So anyway, we're going to talk about nature today. We're going to do something special because we're talking about the element of air a lot today. So if you I like to do little party bonuses. So if you put the word air in your notes, if you shop at sagegoddess.com in the next day or two, I think till midnight tomorrow.
Yeah, midnight tomorrow. I told the team.
Yeah, we're going to send you a intuitively chosen air element stone, which could be, I think of all of the golden stones as air element stones because that's the direction of east. So citrine and yellow aventurine and all of those good ones. So just make sure you put air in your notes and don't share that. That's just for you and the community. Okay. So part of living magic for me, and in a perfect world, I would have done today's class entirely from my house. The only reason I'm not, is that it is too saturated, and the wind, like it is right now, makes my internet really wonky. So it would have been really difficult to get a good connection, and I didn't want to frustrate you as the viewer. But normally a class like this I would do from home. Around summer solstice, I am going to do a class from home. Probably like something around the fire pit or something like that. I'm kind of still building it in my mind. But I normally would have wanted to do today's class from my house and outdoors and in the garden. It's just, there's a lot of factors that would have made that kind of complicated for today. But for me, part of what it means to live magic is to be in communion with nature. And I mentioned that with Randy, when he was asking me like kind of what my concept of magic is or what it means to live magic for me. Again, I apologize for my cough. I may have to slow down sometimes and take a break. For me, part of what living magic means is to recognize, as most people who practice shamanism do, which is really what I consider my practice. And I think of shamanism as being a big umbrella term. I don't think of shamanism as just being one tradition. Shamanism is basically the acknowledgement that we are in a direct relationship with nature, right? I'm not separate from the trees and the plants and the flowers. What affects them affects me, and vice versa. So that's why when we were planning your tools for this month, let me show them that.
The time.
I did take another dose of my cough medicine before, so I will be fine in about 15 minutes. I really wanted to give you something that you could put on your patio. And I'll tell you something, I'm picky about chimes. When I was in college, this is a funny story, I had a very tiny studio apartment. And my neighbor had the most annoying chimes, and like 100 of them on her patio.
The most annoying ones?
Oh my god. I'm telling you, I wanted to move so bad because of her fucking chimes. They weren't like this where it's like, oh, gentle breeze, maybe you hear it, maybe you don't. It's not like, hers were like designed to torture the human auditory system. No, and I know, and so finally one day I left a note on, like an anonymous note on her doorstep, and I was like, could you just take down some of them? You know what I mean? Like, dear neighbor, like there's like 80 of them, like maybe just some of them, right? I mean, it just literally, it was horrible. So you know what I'm talking about. So ever since then I have like chime PTSD. And what I've noticed is like if you go and buy a chime, I don't know, that isn't well made, they can literally just rattle your brain, and that's what this was. And then hers would like cling into each other, so it was like a clinging mess. I don't know how she tolerated it. So when I order chimes or make chimes for you or buy chimes for my own space, I don't want to do that to my neighbors. My chimes are so subtle. So I don't know if chime PTSD is actually a thing, but don't do that to your neighbors. Like this is a seriously, as a public service announcement, like there are horrible chimes, and I don't think anybody should be buying them or selling them. Sometimes I see them on Amazon, like in my Amazon travels, I'll see one and I'll go, I bet that's a hot mess chime, like the kind that's like ding, 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 ding. They do. It's like, look, the whole point of sound, and I'm going to get into it now, is to stimulate your your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay? That is your rest and digest mode. Not your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight mode. If your chimes are activating your sympathetic nervous system and making you feel like you're in the middle of a tornado, or like you need to run to a bomb shelter, that's not the point. The point is to create harmonic resonance. So these are the concepts I want to talk about now. Yeah, you can put rubber bands on them, but then my question is, why do you have a chime? Like, if you have to put rubber bands on your chimes and put them in timeout, they probably need to come down and go into a drawer someplace and not be in your backyard. So, we're talking about resonance and the different types of nervous systems that you have. So, in your body, we are miraculously designed, right? When people ask me why I believe in a divine, holy creator, honestly, the reason is the human body. It's really true. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves, right? They're designed to, no matter what you do to your body, and ask any doctor because they will tell you this is true. I have a lot of friends who are doctors and a lot of clients who are doctors. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a philosophy doctor. But I've never met a medical doctor who disagreed with this statement, which is our bodies are miraculous machines that are designed to heal themselves. And no matter what you do to your body wants to get back to what we call homeostasis. Your body is constantly trying to track back to balance. Even if you eat all the wrong things and drink all the wrong things and abuse it to heck and back, right? Your body will fight to get back to center. There's something in you that wants to be well. And sometimes I say this honestly because I don't think it gets said enough in our culture. I think our culture is obsessed with death and disease. Randy and I were talking about this. I don't think we talked about it on the camera. I think we talked about it before. Yeah, this was like our pre-conversation. But I was telling him the reason that I don't watch the news, honestly, there's a couple reasons. I don't want that in my field. If there's important news, I'll get it some other way. I don't like bias. I like to get actual facts. But the second reason I don't watch the news is the commercials. Every commercial is for a medication, a pill, a prescription. And then the whole commercial is about all the possible horrible side effects that could come from taking this thing. And I don't want those words spoken into my home. So if I am watching the news, right, I pause the commercials. And then it'll be like, have you heard of, Providerone? Oh, it's the brand new treatment for this one horrible disease. But if you take it, you're going to poop yourself into oblivion and these 19 other things, right? And I'm just sitting there listening to all these side effects and I'm like, no. And then the next commercial is the same thing. It's a lady running through a field, right? And she looks okay, but all the side effects are like not that. So we're kind of obsessed with illness, but the reason is it's big business, it's multi-billion-dollar industry. And I want you as practitioners and energy workers and healers to start to become aware of how much our society focuses on disease and not on prevention of disease, right? And because it's not profitable, right? We don't talk about apple cider vinegar, and we don't talk about the healing benefits of honey, and we don't talk about natural cures for diseases and homeopathic treatments and how turmeric is the most powerful anti-inflammatory you can take, and it's sometimes even more effective than Advil and Tylenol. We don't talk about these things because they're almost free. They're so cheap. It's not going to support pharma business, right? Yeah, and then you need medication, like Lauren says, to handle the side effects. So I'm telling you all of this because I believe the human system is designed to heal. And I believe that we were given many tools to heal. I believe we were given herbs and essential oils to heal. And like I said, turmeric is an absolute miracle for healing and reduction of inflammation. And almost every disease and illness in our human community can be traced back to inflammation. And we know what creates inflammation, right? Acidic diets, which is the American diet, excess consumption of fats and salt and alcohol and all the things that we do. So, but we were given all these other tools as well, including sound. Sound is a very potent healer, and don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. One of the reasons we're spending so much time on it, and I know the focus today is on chimes, but I want to speak to the concept of sound more generally, because there's some important things to consider as we talk about sound this year and sound healing. So the sympathetic nervous system is designed to protect you and keep you safe. The sympathetic nervous system is constantly scanning for danger and looking for reasons that you need to run, right? And when that nervous system is activated, your body releases cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And cortisol is so responsible for inflammation in the body, right? But it also creates a response in your body that gives your body the energy it needs to, move into that stress response. It's one of the reasons that people who are under a lot of stress tend to gain weight, and especially around the middle. It creates belly fat. And so also not getting enough sleep increases cortisol levels. So I can always tell people who are too stressed and not getting enough sleep because they've got the tire, right? And as soon as they start sleeping better and their stress level is reduced, then it's like, oh, I didn't have to diet and I lost my belly fat. And it's like, yeah, well, there's something to science and cortisol. So it's very important to know that. The parasympathetic nervous system is what sound activates. And particularly healing sounds and healing frequencies activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is called rest and digest. When your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, that's when you go into this kind of softer, your body is told by your entire nervous system to relax. There's nothing wrong. Everything's fine. We can rest, right? We can sleep. We can slow down. There's nothing to worry about. No one's chasing you, right? So there's this real comfort to being in a state where your parasympathetic nervous system is active, and that's what we want to focus on. People who've gone through extreme trauma and stress over long periods of time know exactly what I'm talking about, and and then when their life and everything returns to a state of normalcy and that stress is reduced and they start to work more with their healing tools like chimes and other tools too, but chimes have a particular effect that I think is unique, and we're going to talk about them tonight as our area of focus. Okay. So sound increases parasympathetic activity in the human body. And again, this is not the world according to Athena. This is science, right? Mm-hmm. Sound is connected. Now, some types of music and sound increase the sympathetic nervous system. And there's data to support that too, right? You can have some types of, and I'm not judging because I do love some good rock music and I do love some good, heavy bass rap music and stuff. But some, I do. I mean, I'll play it in the car, We've got a lot of Snoop Dogg on our kids' playlists in the car. Drop It Like It's Hot. We're going to activate a little bit of your sympathetic nervous system. Your body's going to go, oh shit, I got to drop it like it's hot. I raise my cortisol levels.
I got to drop it like it's hot. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. So, there's science behind this. Now, people used to joke, I don't know if you're my age or not, but we used to joke about elevator music, right? Like it was like a Karen Carpenter song, but there's no lyrics, and it's just the instrumental version or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I love Karen Carpenter, so I'm not making fun of Karen Carpenter. I love Karen Carpenter. I'm just like, hey. No, back up. I'm not making fun of Karen Carpenter. Big Carpenter's fan over here. But when music is recorded in certain frequencies, it is proven to activate a parasympathetic response. And what's really cool about chimes, especially the one I'm sharing with you, and the Koshi chimes too, all of these chimes play multiple notes at once. And I'm going to go through. The Koshi chimes, by the way, we have some of them left at Sage Goddess.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're interested, we'll guide you to them. They're all on the front page of the website today.
Yes.
But when you have multiple notes being activated at once, that's called a harmonic resonance. That's the key word for today's class, harmonic resonance. Okay? And that's a very powerful experience. It's more powerful in some ways, according to some people, than playing a single note. because you don't have that harmonic resonance. You don't have the multiple notes being played at once. So I'm going to define resonance for you. My definitions of resonance. There's lots of different ways of thinking about resonance, but these are my definitions, and these are based on in science. Resonance is when one object that's vibrating at a specific rate transfers to a second object, and the two merge energetically and vibrationally. So the chime is resonating at a certain frequency of vibration, connects with you, and you're vibrating at a certain frequency, and you merge. That's resonance. Now, resonance can also occur between people, right? I felt like Randy and I had resonance today, like when you're just vibing with someone, right? The conversation's just flowing, and like, honestly, at certain points, I felt like I was almost like at a coffee house with him, just chatting. I didn't forget you were there, but it was kind of in the zone, just vibing off of each other, and like one thought leading to another, and that's resonance, right? I always think of resonance as when you lose track of time. Has that ever happened to you? Like, just the energies are merging. It can occur like during lovemaking, right? When you're just sort of like, you're in that zone. And it's like you don't know where one energy starts and the other one stops. You also know the opposite of resonance, which is where time goes by real slow and you can't wait to get away from that person or away from that sound. When I was in college with a nightmare chime lady, oh, seriously, I still think about her sometimes. It didn't even look good. I mean, when you have 50 chimes on your patio, it's not even cute. It looks like you have a chime addiction and you need help. That was not resonance. That was the opposite of resonance. That was, I think she was trying to get all of her neighbors to move away. So we want resonance, right? We want to be in that sort of harmonic connection. And it can be us with sound, it can be us with another person, but today we're specifically talking about harmonic resonance, which is music and frequency. So there are 3 components to resonance, okay? I'm getting kind of technical right now. 3 components to resonance. First is the activator, or the actuator. The second is the vibrator, and the third is the resonator, or the amplifier. So the activator is, the tool is just sitting here itself, okay? The tool is the vibrator. The force that makes it play is the activator. So this is the vibrator. Oh, I'm sorry, no, this is the, I'm confusing myself. This is the resonator, or the amplifier.
The tool is the resonator.
The tool is the resonator. Okay. The vibrator is the piece of the tool that actually moves, within it. Okay, so this is the body of the chime, or the body of, like the structure of it itself is the resonator. The piece inside, or the bits inside that are moving to make the sound, those are the vibrators. And then the activator is the force that makes it move.
Do you want me to put one on like this camera so I can show them like the inside of it?
You guys kind of understand? There's 3 parts. There's the structure, there's the bits and pieces inside, and then there's the force that makes it move. And every chime has that. She's going to give you a different view.
I'm gonna give you the
You resonate with vibrators?
Don't we all? Okay, so
I do want to hear more about your Buzzy Bunny experiences soon.
So this is the chime.
So again, the body of the chime
That's the body.
is the resonator, or the amplifier.
And then if you look at it from the inside, it's got this little metal piece.
That's the vibrator.
That's the vibrator. And then these ones are made with different metal pieces, like metal rods on the inside, and each one of those.
And that's all part of the what we call the vibrator.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't be my people if you couldn't do vibrator jokes. Like, we would have a hard time being friends. Now, you are the activator or the actuator, or in the case of nature, because we're talking about sound outdoors today, wind is the activator or the actuator, right? So nature itself can exert the force upon the tool to make the sound happen. But those are the 3 components of resonance. And you know this because if you have, if you put rubber bands around Barbara's chimes, right? We're calling her Barbara. Somebody's asked if her name was Barbara. I don't think so. If you put rubber bands around Karen's chimes, we should give her a name that wouldn't be in our community.
Around so there's Joe Bob. What about Jill Bob?
Jill Bob. Jill Bob's chimes. If we put rubber bands around them, obviously.
Jill Barb.
Jill Barb.
Jill Barb.
You need to stop laughing.
I'm sorry.
If you put rubber bands around Jill Barb's chimes, you would be stopping the vibrator. This is getting oddly technical. I think I need to lift up a little bit. So nature is the activator, and then your tool is the resonator or the amplifier. Okay. Now you can make sounds with your voice too, and nature can affect those sounds. I have friends who are singers who, when they sing outdoors, they talk about how the wind can influence their voice, right, and can sort of amplify their voice or expand their voice, and they like to sing outdoors. There's a really beautiful place out near Joshua Tree. It's called the Integratron.
Oh, so cool. I didn't get to go.
Yeah, Alexis didn't get to go on that trip. Dave hated it. That's a story for another time. Honestly, he has PTSD from that. You would love it. There's a sound chamber, and there was a woman there who was, because we were part of like a bigger group. I took part of Team SG, and we went to the Integratron. Has anybody been there? And so inside is a sound chamber, and there was a woman there with this angelic voice. And when she would sing, when she would tone and go into different parts of the room, the sound would reverberate. And then she would take a step to the right, and it would stop. And then she would take another step, and it would reverberate. And it was all based on, and it was designed that way, based on the proximity to windows and the depth of the floor and the proximity to the internal mechanisms of the sound chamber. It was a really cool experience to watch this woman chant and tone and move around the room. Like I said, Dave didn't enjoy it, but the rest of us did. He thought it was really weird. Which is what keeps me so grounded. So, I just want to make sure I covered everything that I wanted to say about that. Yes, I did. Okay. So, the most important part about resonance, harmonic resonance, okay, and this is where we get into chimes, and when you have these multiple tones. The multiple tones are called overtones. Overtones. And actually, Randy brought up overtones today, which I thought was really interesting. He was talking about overtones, and he was saying that there's certain microphones that are better at picking up overtones than other microphones. And so I'm going to reach out to him and get a recommendation from him, because it might be good. Sometimes when we play our tools, I think our microphone here is pretty good, and it's a professional one, but he was saying that there's certain equipment I could have here that would pick up more of the overtones, so that you would be able to discern the nuances of the different frequencies that are operating there. One of the reasons I think that having chimes outside is so beautiful is that each season, and especially if you live in places where you have a more dramatic climate than we have here in Southern California, although I say that telling you we just had a tornado here in LA.
You know what? It's so funny that you bring that up, because when you were talking about the annoying chimes lady, it made me think of that scene in Twister. Have you ever seen Twister?
Yeah, a long time ago.
There's like a scene where it shows all of this lady's like wind chimes going off, and so now whenever I see stuff like that, it makes me scared. I'm terrified of tornadoes. I have never experienced one.
We had one last week. I had people reaching out to me going, "Are you guys okay?" It wasn't anywhere near where we live, but
I saw it on TikTok.
It was crazy.
Yeah. It's so scary.
So apparently now in LA we're going to have weird weather. We never did before. But if you live in a climate where you do have variance in weather, you're going to notice that your chimes sound different during different seasons of the year. I notice a difference between the winds that come up, we call them Santa Ana winds here in Southern California, that start in like August, September. Those winds are very different from winter storm winds and spring rain winds that come through Southern California. The tone of my chimes is even different, right? So one of the things that I think is really interesting is nature herself is so unpredictable, and she's the activator, right? But she activates differently depending on the season, and that's why I want to talk about the concept of the four winds in just a second too. So seasons, weather, location, placement. If you're going to put your chime outdoors, which I really recommend that you do, make sure that it has some room to move. Make sure it's in a place where there will be some movement of air and wind. My friend Yasmina has Koshi chimes, and she puts hers outdoors. Have you seen her Instagram videos? She lives out in Joshua Tree, and she gets these really beautiful westerly winds, and they blow through her Koshi chimes, and it's like all I can do to just not sit and just watch her reels for hours just to listen to her chimes and the winds in Joshua Tree. It's so beautiful. So I often say that the Koshi chimes are meant to be indoor chimes. Well, traditionally they are. They're thought to be ceremonial chimes. These are the Koshi chimes. But I want to encourage you to also think about putting them outdoors. They are made of bamboo, so they will they can sustain the elements. So it is something for you to think about too. Now, I was going to go into a little bit more about the technicality of tones. There's timbre and resonance, which are the two aspects of what we call pure tone or sine wave. But I don't want to go into too much technical stuff because I think it's probably not as relevant as the other things I want to talk to you about tonight. So think about weather, think about season, also think about time of day, right? When you're going to be outside more to appreciate them, direction, location, and element. Okay. So now I want to talk about the four winds and the four directions. And I want to talk about the notes as well because they align to the chakras. So the Koshi chimes are designed to align to the four elements. And I'm going to read to you a little bit from this website that I found. They have one of the best descriptions I've ever seen. So last night I was starting to tell you this story earlier. I couldn't sleep when I was first trying to fall asleep. So I went back and started thinking about class again. And I was thinking about the four winds. In Native American cosmology, one of my first teachers was Native American and really had a profound influence on me and my path and my development. And I don't talk about it very much, but my mom traces our lineage back to a Native American tribe on the eastern seaboard of the U.S. And I started to think about the four winds and go back to my old notes about the four winds, and I was pulling a book out of the library, and I fell back asleep, and I had the most amazing dream of doing a rain dance myself. This group had come. I was dancing, and they had these I don't even know what they would be called. They were like capes almost that they were making out of the most beautiful, vibrant, like purple leather and gold leather, and they had like pouches in them for stones and crystals. And I was wearing this big purple and gold leather cape and doing this rain dance out in the middle of this looked like just a barren sort of desert. And I could feel the wind like coming up under the cape, and I could see off in the distance. It almost felt like a community gathering, like maybe it was us. And everybody was gathering around these men who had come, and they were selling these beautiful capes, and they were purple and blue and red and green. And everybody was taking their cape and going off and starting to do these rain dances. And I was watching the wind come up under everybody's capes and sort of blow the cape as they were doing the dances. It was such an incredible dream last night. I was so grateful to like be thinking about class and then go into that dream state and have that dream. And then I woke up after that dream and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. It was like a shawl. Does anybody know if there's a technical name for that? It was long, and it was leather, and it was like pieced leather. It wasn't, the edges were natural. It wasn't like a finished. I mean, I would love to be able to actually like create something like that. I'd never seen anything like it, you know, in my waking life, but in the dream it was so real. It was so incredibly beautiful. I know. Can you kind of visualize it? Absolutely unbelievable. And all of us doing this rain dance together, and it was really remarkable. So I want to talk about the four winds and the four elements. The koshi chimes are specifically designed to align to the four elements. I'll have Alexis bring them to me one at a time.
Was there one you wanted to start with? Or
Earth. We'll start. So Terra is Earth. Terra. A dream code? Oof. Oof. Is that a thing? I want a dream coat. Is it really a thing?
Like Dreamcoat Lemurians?
Whoa. Yeah. It was for sure Native American, but I'm just wondering if there's an actual thing like this or if I made it up in my head. So this is the... Might be stuck.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't...
That's okay. Will you unstick it for me?
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Terra, not T-A-R-A like the goddess. Terra, T-E-R-R-A, is the Latin word for earth. The Terra chimes play the notes G, C, E, F, G, C, E, G. All at once. Again, this is harmonic resonance, okay? And I'm going to tell you what the notes mean for the chakras in just a second. So the reason you hear, I'm going to play this for you, the reason you hear different tones when you play this chime is because, again, it's playing G, C, E, F, G, C, E, G. Isn't that beautiful? G, C, E, F, G, C, E, G. So I'm going to say that to you in chakras, okay? Yeah, like terracotta. That's exactly right, Jennifer. So I'm going to tell you that formula in the chakras. Throat, root, solar plexus, heart. Throat, root, solar plexus, throat. Okay? Now the aqua, the water chime, and aqua is the Latin word for water. Aquis. You're going to hear A, D, F, G, A, D, F, A. Okay. I'll read it to you in the chakras. That's third eye, sacral. I need to fix my notes because that's not clear. Third eye, sacral, heart, throat, third eye, sacral, heart, third eye is the water chime. The air chime, no, let me just play the two, the earth and water separately so you can hear them, the difference, okay? This is earth. This is water. Beautiful, right? There really is a thing called a dream coat and a dream cloak. Oh my god.
Wasn't that also a wasn't that a Bible story too? Yes. Yeah. I remember that from my Sunday school. Yes, exactly.
That's crazy because I mean I haven't heard of it, but I dreamed it and I want to make them. I mean I think they'd be expensive as heck. I'm talking about like almost as tall as you are, like from your neck almost to the ground, and like 2/3 one color leather with natural edge, and then underneath that another piece of leather in a different color, like purple and white, and purple and gold, and like open in the front, so when the wind came, the leather would rise. Unbelievable. The air chime is aria, A-R-I-A. And that is A-C-E-A, B-C-E-B, A-C-E-A, B-C-E-B. Okay. And in chakras, it is third eye, root, solar plexus, third eye, crown, root, solar plexus, crown. So the air chime is the first chime where we experience a crown chakra connection. Yeah, song and air, right? Here's what's interesting. I love the idea that the air chime activates the crown chakra and activates your connection to source and to the upper chakras, right? Doesn't it make sense? So you're going to hear the difference in the sound of the chime. Yeah, the soul shift tools for January did, and that's still there in your vault. The Kuan Yin chime. I believe it was water element.
Yeah, there was a Kuan Yin chime. It wasn't January. It was.
Oh no, it wasn't. I wrote it
I
down.
want to say like September, maybe.
Yeah, September 22.
Oh wow, I got it right.
No, you did.
It's a beautiful chime.
I believe it's water. Okay, and
Very,
then
like heart chakra.
Ignis, fire.
This one's actually my favorite.
I
I was surprised because we were unpackaging them this morning, and when I heard that one, I like for some reason it just resonated so deeply.
Because you got so much water, maybe.
And I've heard them all. I've played them all multiple times, but for some reason today that one's just like
It really connected with you.
yeah, it's really pretty.
I love the fire chime. It's my favorite too. This is GBDG. So when you hear the chakra associations, maybe it'll make sense to you.
Yeah.
BDGA. So in chakras, that is, so I'll say it one more time, GBDG, BDGA. And in chakras, that's throat, crown, sacral. Now we're getting into sacral. Back to throat, crown, sacral, throat, third eye.
Interesting.
Yeah, so here you go. It's my favorite.
It just sounds so pretty.
Yeah, Joseph and the coat. That's right. I love that you guys are sharing that story in the feed too.
Joseph was the youngest brother of the twins.
We were all talking about how we still have church friends because we all were in church and like youth group and stuff.
Yeah.
I finally found a church I want to go to, by the way.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
What church is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Neighborhood church.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Really? So is it like a Sunday thing? Or?
You know, so my son's mentor passed away, the young kid, only 20, and his funeral was Monday at the church. And it was such a sad, terrible moment, you know, and you're there not for the right reasons. But the service was beautiful, and the church was beautiful, and the pastor was amazing. And so afterward I asked Nick, I'm like, hey, would you like to come here? Like, and he's like, you know what, the pastor was like really good at making the Bible accessible, and it's right on the water here in Palos Verdes, so we're gonna go on a Sunday and just try it out.
I'd love to go with you sometime if you decide
Would you?
to keep going.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I would really love to have you go with
I've
me.
been feeling the
Kind of the call to go back, huh?
Kind of, yeah. Maybe it's like the community aspect, or honestly, and I was talking about this recently. What I miss most about it is the singing.
Yeah, me too. I miss the singing, and I miss the. It was just honestly, it was like for me, the pastor's everything. You know, if like, the pastor's not great. Anyway, this is.
Sorry, yeah.
We're digressing. I'm not really like a person I'm not a church person because I believe that source is everywhere. So I wasn't raised that you have to go to church, but yeah, I've just been wanting community, you know what I mean? So, and the pastor really blew my mind. He was so good. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the 4. Now in your chime, and I have to say I love the Koshi chimes, but I love this chime.
It's so nice.
This is my favorite chime. And I have not put it up in my garden. I'm not putting it up, obviously, until after class today. This is my favorite chime I've ever heard. I think it is so beautiful. And your chime is B, so from top to bottom, B, E, A, C, D, which is crown, solar plexus, third eye, root, and sacral chakra. Isn't it beautiful? And the, what do they call this thing? They call it the sail at the bottom. Is your Living Magic logo.
That's so cute.
Isn't that cute? It just turned out so gorgeous, and it is real brass.
Are you handing it to me or holding it up?
Well, actually, will you play it while we kind of talk about it?
Sure, yeah, I'd love to.
It's real brass, and the tone of it is so soft and so sweet, right? Well, you know what, Sarah, for me, I don't necessarily go to church with the idea of, you know, for me, it's not necessarily about the religion. It's just about community and feeling a connection to my origin story. Do you know what I mean? I was raised in that tradition, but you know me. Like I'm not. That isn't the beginning or the end of my story. I kind of see all paths leading to the same place. So I think it's just for me wanting to also reconnect with my mom a little bit. You know, so I felt her there. So yeah, it's not so much about wanting to connect with patriarchal, you know, institution as much as it is wanting to connect with people who do have a faith and, you know, just be in the room with that. I had forgotten how beautiful that can feel. Yeah. But I believe in everything. I have a 10-foot tall Buddha statue in my entryway. So.
That's so pretty.
Yeah. Like I say, that isn't the totality of who I am. I'm such one of my friends calls me an integrationalist. You know, I just think everything comes together for good, you know, based on how you receive it and what your intention is, and I don't know, you know. And like Lola Bunny says, I take what works and I leave everything else behind. If something comes up and I don't like it, I'm just like, nah, it doesn't resonate with me. Next. I'm not wedded to it, you know? Okay. Thank you, Alexis.
You're welcome. Was that like a thank you stop or a thank you keep going?
That's a thank you stop.
Oh, okay, perfect. Because my arm was starting to hurt.
I do miss live sessions. I miss community in general. It isn't like church community that I miss. It's like it's spirit community for sure. There isn't any space to do them here now, so but not to say we couldn't create something in the future, but it's not in the cards right this minute. So yeah, I just want connection, you know? Does that make sense? I don't know what it is exactly. Our sessions feed me and fuel me and in so many ways. But sometimes I don't want to be the teacher. Does that make sense? I just want to receive. I just want to sit and be quiet and hear something uplifting. And be in the presence of other people who are doing the same thing. So yeah, I think I just want to be part of it. And what's cool is they have a virtual, if you don't go in person, they have a virtual option too. So I can just sit and listen and, I don't know. But, you know, again, that's virtual, so. I don't know. Yeah, you know, actually I have thought about doing them outside. I've actually thought about, because the parking lot here is our property too. And I've thought about putting up a big tent. Would you guys come for that? If I did something outside in warmer weather? Wouldn't that be kind of nice? I just love a good in-person something. We can talk more about that. No, you don't drain me. Honestly, you don't. I'm always healthier and stronger after class. I always feel better after class. I feel better right now than I did the 2 days I stayed home. And I'm not that much more well. But being in your presence is very healing and very stabilizing.
Honestly, you seem a lot better.
Mm-hmm. No, I really do. I never find class draining or our community draining ever. I feel so blessed that what I do for a living just nourishes me too. I don't think I can overestimate my love for you guys and my appreciation for you. Truly. And that goes for the internal team here too at SG. I never feel drained. I always feel like it's a battery and I get to plug in, which is so beautiful. But yeah. No, I love what I do. I'm so grateful for you. All right, so what we might be able to do is do something outside and then have like a computer so that people could join virtually. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? I mean, we could. We got Jared and
I was like, we can make anything we want
with the
happen.
skills. No, Jared's over there going.
We could, as long. I think the bigger thing would be sound. So as long as we have a microphone to clip
Yeah,
to you,
yeah.
I think
I'll be
that'd
mic'd
fine.
and we'll do something. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. So we'll keep you posted. So I'm going to read to you a little bit from this website about the 4 winds. Okay. Because one of the things I want you to start to become conscious of after this session, your homework for this weekend, if you will. You know I love to give you homework. Oh, thanks, you guys. I am truly grateful for you. I really am. Just for your energy and your presence. I am. I'm so blessed. I told Randy that on the way out. He's like, God, your community is amazing. And I'm like, dude, I take no credit for it, but I am so blessed. So just know he loves you too. I want you to go outside if you can this weekend. And I know some of you where you are, it's still really, really cold. But if you have a chance to go outside this weekend, I want you to go outside and I want you to shut off as many of your senses as you can. So I want you to sit or stand still. And I want you to close your eyes. And I don't want you to play any music. Okay, because when you shut off all your senses, if you're looking around, you're not going to feel what I'm trying to get you to feel. If you're touching things, you're not going to feel what I'm trying to get you to feel. And I want you to start to notice if you can feel the energy of the winds coming from different directions. And orient yourself before you close your eyes so that you know where north and south and east and west are. And I want you to just sit or stand for 5 minutes and really become aware. What is the energy of the wind that's coming from the north? What is the energy of the wind that's coming from the west? What is the energy of the wind that's coming from the east? And what is the energy of the wind that's coming from the south? And see if you can start to discern. I love that you guys would fly in for that, by the way. That's really, really cool that some of you would fly in. Oh. It'd be so good just to put my arms around you. It'd be so exciting. So it says, this is from the book of Revelations. John saw in Revelations the spirit of the 4 winds. Did you know that? It's true. They are mentioned in Revelations. The winds were personified in Native American lore, and names were given to represent their characters. I'm going to not pronounce these names correctly. I'll just say there was a spirit keeper of the west wind, father of all winds, with the animal totem of bear. And then there was a spirit keeper of the east wind, young and beautiful, with an animal totem of the golden eagle, which is the same as the biblical account, by the way. It's a good question from Ray Byrne, by the way, about is there a good time to do this? And my favorite time of day is always sunset time. But if it's cold where you are, you can do it in the middle of the day when the sun is highest in the sky so that you'll be warm. As I would prefer that you weren't cold, but I would prefer that some part of your skin is exposed so you can feel it on your body. Does that make sense? So, if you can do it early in the morning and sunset, I don't know if you saw the content I posted in social media, but all the way back to ancient Egypt, our ancestors used to go out in the morning deliberately and look at the sun, and go out at sunset and deliberately look at the sun, stare at the sun. Because there's no UV rays first thing in the morning and at sunset. You don't want to stare at the sun after 8 a.m. or, all the way until 2 or 3 p.m., 4 p.m., because you've got UV rays and it's damaging. But they used to sun gaze between like 5 and 7 a.m. and then sun gaze again from like 5 to 7 p.m. because the energy of the sun is very healing. And so if you could do it early in the morning or at sunset time, that'd be really good. You can sun gaze and then close your eyes and just feel the winds. And let this be a meditation for you. Okay, so spirit keeper of the, where did I leave off? Golden eagle, which is the same as the biblical account. There's a spirit keeper of the north wind with the animal totem of the white buffalo, which is similar to the biblical ox. And then there's a spirit keeper of the south wind with the animal totem coyote or cougar, which is the North American mountain lion. From the book of Revelations to ancient Native Americans, the 4 spirits of the 4 winds have been invoked to bring us the power of the 4 directions, the 4 times, and the seasons of the year and of our lives, right? Because there's seasons of your life, too. right? You have the spring of your life, right? You have the summer of your life. You have the sun, the spring, summer, fall of your life, and you have a winter of your life. I don't know what years actually those are defined by. I guess it depends on how long your life is, right? I guess in theory, right? Like it depends. Like your youth, I guess, is your spring.
Yeah, because you're kind of budding.
Yeah. And summer is like the high times, like your 20s and maybe your early 30s. I think I'm in like sunset time, right? Late 40s, early 50s.
Definitely.
60s?
Fractal on like transits, that would kind of make sense. Like
Mhm.
first Uranus opposition, you're going into
Mhm.
spring.
Yeah.
Second,
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you busting out the
Well,
astrology.
astrotalk.
Go straight up astro talk. We're getting straight up astrologically very specific here, but I think you're probably correct with that.
I think so too. I definitely don't feel like I am in my summer right now.
No, but you're an old soul.
I also don't really love summer, so maybe I am in my summer, but I am an old
You are in
soul,
your
that's
summer.
true.
So while that personification is steeped in legend and lore, it remains the winds themselves, the actual movement of energy and air, the changes in weather and destiny they portend, are powerful elements sometimes beyond personification. In their raw, wild essence, the winds are the breath of the earth. They are both spirit and corporeal. We know there are many legends and beliefs. There was the Iroquois father of the winds, and they say the winds are caused by the breathing of monstrous beasts in the south and the north. All Indian tribes regarded the winds as in the power of the spirits of the four cardinal points. Navajos say there are white swans at each point. In the Palenque cross, the wind, as a bird, dominates over the north point. The Algonquin said the thunder spirit used one of the four winds as a drumstick to cause thunder. And so it just goes on and on. I just thought it was a really interesting... now, there's colors associated to it as well. These don't necessarily correspond to my understanding of the colors. Like, for example, this particular source is saying the color of the east wind is red. It precedes the dawn into mixed legends, brings the paintings of Aurora, the dawn, to our lives. South wind's color is yellow, blows dry and hot, ushers in summer of the year and of our lives. When you need warmth and relaxation from stress, seek the comfort of the south wind. Travel the medicine wheel to its golden hue. The west wind is brown. It is the predominant wind of the earth as the earth rotates, driving the winds to blow west and east. So yeah, but traditionally we've seen the east wind as golden wind. We've seen the south wind as red wind. We've seen the eastern or the western wind as blue or black, and then we've seen the northern wind as white. So the website is called crystalvaults.com. I can't attest to like how accurate it is, but it resonates with what I've been taught, except for the colors.
I was about to say brown for west.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interwesting.
That wasn't what I've been taught.
That was dumb. I shouldn't
So,
have
but with everything online, you got to take it with a kind of a grain of salt. Okay. So what I want to do is just a brief meditation with you,
said.
and then I'm going to turn it over to questions. So I want you to roll your shoulders back, call your energy into present time. And I'm going to play the Koshi chimes for you. And I'm just going to move between the elements. And I'm going to say each element as I play each chime. And I want you to notice, and again, I want you to shut off all your senses. I want you to close your eyes. Don't be touching a bunch of stuff. And don't be listening to other music. And I'm going to focus on the chime. And I really want you to notice in your body which tone, which element has the deepest resonance. And again, remember, resonance is about merging, right? It's your frequency and the frequency of the tone merging. And we talked earlier, do you remember, about how when you're in that state of resonance, it's because you feel such a deep connection. It's like making love, or it's like a good conversation, or easy flow between two people, or it's feeling like you don't want something to stop, or like time goes by really fast, right? That's resonance. So the one you'll have the most resonance with will be the one where you feel like, oh, I wish that sound would keep going. It's so beautiful. And there might be another one where you're like, well, I like that one, but not as much. And then afterward, I'd like you to rank them. You know, so the one I resonated most with was earth, and then after that it was air, and then after that it was water, and after that it was fire, something like that. And I just, for no other purpose than just to notice. This is just an experiment for you for tonight. Because, and you might surprise yourself. You might think, oh, for sure I'm going to resonate most with water. But like Alexis was saying, you know, today she took out the fire chime, and that's the one she resonated with most. Or you might surprise yourself with the one that creates the deepest resonance in you. Before I do that, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you that I mentioned to Randy, and he thought was really interesting. So I didn't want to forget to mention it to you too. There are specific frequencies that align, and this isn't necessarily connected to tonight's teaching. It's just something that I came through in old notes that I was reviewing and prepping for class. And I thought, I'm going to share this with them because this is about sound, and this is our sound healing session. Did you know that Cancer has a frequency? 42 hertz. And a healthy body is 62 to 78 hertz. Colds and flu and disease are in the range of 57 to 60 hertz. So you're noticing, and Randy and I were talking about like what frequency COVID might be, right? Mm-hmm. You're noticing that a healthy body is up here and cancer's down here, and illness and disease and colds and flu are kind of in the middle there somewhere, right? So one of the most important things, and one of the reasons why sound healing is part of our curriculum this year, is I really do believe that working with sound will keep you healthy. I've been working with it as much as I can over the last week or two because the ancient Egyptian temples, and I've told you this before, the pyramids were built as sound chambers. And most people don't realize that. All of the temple, all of the pyramids were built as sound chambers, and each one of them had a specific frequency, a note, and a harmonic focus. And the priests and priestesses, when you would come to them with symptoms or illness, would look at what you were presenting with, and they would direct you to one of the pyramids. And the way the pyramids were built, if you think about it, it would be a perfect sound chamber, right? Can you imagine what it would be like to experience sound inside of a pyramid? And so that's how the Egyptians, I believe that's how the pyramids were actually built too. Sound is powerful. Sound can break glass. Sound can move objects, right? And sound can absolutely shift the health and vitality of your entire human energetic system. So it's very important to include sound as part of your regimen. But again, it has to be a very specific sound. But yeah, when we don't often, like I said, we look back into the ancient civilizations and we think of them as like, antiquated, and what did they know, and we're so advanced because we have technology and we have science and stuff. I think we are so far behind, what they knew. I think so much was lost. And we know that a lot was lost, right? Between the translation or the transition from Egypt when the Greeks took over, and a lot was lost in the Alexandrian library, and there's just a lot of wisdom that did not make its way to us. And I think a lot of us are downloading it now and accessing it now. So yeah, so again, the frequency is Cancer is at 42 hertz, colds, disease, and illness in general 57 to 60 hertz, and then a healthy body is at 62 to 78 hertz. Pretty cool. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to start with fire. Again, close your eyes, roll your shoulders back, call your energy into present time. Here we go with fire. Now we move to air. Actually, is this air or earth?
That one is air.
It is air, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the earth. Mm-hmm. You ready for water? The wind is blowing outside and I can hear it. It's so beautiful. Now earth. So take just a minute to note which one of those you felt the deepest resonance with. And mine surprises me.
Me too. Which one was yours?
Earth.
Interesting.
What was yours?
Well, it was still the fire for sure.
Still fire?
Yeah, but the the interesting thing is that water, which I normally resonate so much with. And I know I loved that chime before, but like listening to it today, like it almost like it was kind of like grating on me.
Interesting.
Super weird. Yeah. I've never had like an adverse reaction.
It's interesting,
to that
and
before.
again, that's lack of resonance, right? And listen, lack of resonance is not a judgment. It's a match, a frequency match or not, right? So it's not like, oh, I don't like that, or that's not my element or whatever. It's just, and that can change day by day.
It's not permanent because I know I liked that chime before.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not. It's a transitory thing. Really interesting to see your reactions. Last one was Earth. Interesting. Yeah, Mermaid Crystal says same here. Water is my normal attraction.
It usually is. Usually I love anything watery.
Yeah, and then Nikki said water was almost anxiety inducing for me.
That's how I felt too. Like it almost like started making my heart kind of race. But I know for me, or my assumption for me, I think I know. Anyway, I have emotional healing that I need to be doing that I'm not. And I think that is why, and it's come up for me multiple times this week particularly.
Yeah.
I've been going through my because of how Saturn sits in my chart. I recently went through my Saturn return, but because of where it was, it hit me 3 different times, and now it's like on my moon. And so this week particularly has been really, really rough for me, and there's just stuff that I don't think I'm ready to deal with, or that I'm sure I have to deal with it and I have to be ready, but I don't want to be, I guess, and so I think that is why the emotional healing watery stuff that I'm normally so comfortable with is it's like I said, grating on me, or like giving me anxiety, or almost like panicking me.
Interesting. And you might look at that, it's like the elements all have their correspondences, right? So like Alexis is talking about water and emotional healing, and we know that the emotions are governed by water, and then earth obviously is grounding and stabilizing, and I think that's a lot of the work that I'm doing, is trying to get grounded and kind of stabilized, because I've been feeling kind of like just sort of like sand shifting a little bit under me, and then right. So, and then fire could be, if that's the one that you're not resonating with, it could be something that, or you are resonating with it. If you are resonating, it's because you need to move or make a decision or make progress or transform something. And then if you're not resonating, it could be like a resistance to that too.
I always think of it as kind of like the polarity, or like the spectrum of things. It's just like the goal isn't to be one full side, it's to be balanced. And so if you need something, it could resonate with you, or if you need something,
it could be pushing you away.
Exactly. So it's like
it's
you
true.
need it,
So
but
it could be the medicine you need.
But
why is there no spirit chime? That's a great question.
That's a good idea. Spirit chime.
There should be, don't you think?
I'm messaging Rosalind right now.
Yeah. So just and again, there's no judgment here. There's no right, wrong. This is just a noticing. Like, I'm noticing I'm feeling more of a connection here. Or, I'm noticing that I'm feeling less of a connection there. Not with the intention or the need or even the justification to make a judgment about what that means. More just to notice where the energy is, right? So, and again, for me, this doesn't even align to how much of that you have in your chart or anything else. It's just about the energy, and because resonance is a shifting experience. Think about relationships, right? You can resonate with someone for a certain time or a certain part of your life or a certain season of life, and then not resonate with them later. There can be a song that's like your favorite song for years, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to hear that song anymore for a while. It's also the reason why, one of the reasons that music is so powerful. I think about, like, there were certain songs I played and not for any particular reason, but just I played them a lot on my SoundCloud when my mom died, and I just can't go back and play them now. It's just like I'm instantly back in that like deep grief place, and I don't need to do that to myself, you know. And I didn't realize like I was going to end up blacklisting a lot of those songs, but I just can't do it.
I am so there with you.
Yeah.
I turned Grease is one of my favorite movies
Yeah.
of all time. I know it's really silly, but in my grief, I watched it like for a week and a half straight, over and over again. And I haven't watched it again since, so it's been almost 8 months.
Yeah.
And the other day I was watching a completely different show, and they had like a parody song on there of the Beauty School Dropout song. And I like immediately
Oh my god, it's a physical
bursted into tears.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the actual song. Like
it was
a parody, but it was the exact same and it was supposed to be that.
Yeah.
You know? So
Totally.
I'm so there, like I know exactly what you're talking about.
It can take you right back in.
No.
So, and I mean, we're talking about music in general now, but even the chimes, because the specific like harmonic, the specific resonance of all the different notes, which we talked about, right? We listed off the different notes and how they correspond to the different chakras. That's the other thing to keep in mind with the chimes too. What I would love for you to do, like the next step of this exercise, then I want to turn it over to questions. The next step of this exercise, if you want to do the next step, would be to go back to your notes, or if you didn't take notes, wait till we post the notes. Make a note now to yourself of which one you resonated with most, and then look at the notes of that chime and look at the chakras. Are those the chakras also that are either that you're not working on right now, or you need to work on right now, or you don't want to work on right now? Because they have chakra correspondences. So I think that's like kind of the next layer of this work would be to go, okay, well, you know, for example, I was really resonating with the earth chime, which is throat, root, solar plexus, heart, throat, root, solar plexus, throat. So what's left out there, right? Sacral. Interesting, right? Yeah. So anyway, now what questions do you have? What do you want to talk about? I usually leave I try to leave at least 20 minutes for questions. And anything you want to talk about is on the menu for us today. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Where are we going? Yeah, I don't know. Bree and Bear is asking a great question. What would spirit chime notes be? I'm thinking mostly upper chakra, right? So then that would be A, B, G. I would say A, B, G, F, because you'd want to leave out solar, root, and sacral, right? Hey, Cindy Dotson. She's like, made it for the last 15 minutes. I'm glad you're here. It's always nice if you're able to come, you know, at any time for our live. It's just nice to connect with you directly. Is it okay or a good thing to play all 4 chimes together? You can. It's a lot of zhuzhing, but you can do it. You absolutely can. So yeah, I think it would be all the other upper chakras. It's a really interesting concept. I don't know if we can make it happen, but yeah, the notes of the chimes will be in your notes for sure. Yeah, and that was the soul shift tool was the water chime, I believe.
I'm looking it up right now.
She's looking up the notes for the soul shift one from September of last year.
It was definitely heart chakra.
Oh, it was heart chakra. Okay, yeah. But they're always 4 notes, so.
Right, yeah, so I
She's double checking.
I'm pulling it up right here.
How do you measure your personal frequency? That's a good question. I don't know that there's a specific tool to measure your frequency. I think it's more just attuning yourself to understand, to notice when you're higher or lower, and noticing how that feels, and working with tools to consciously raise it. You know, I think I have noticed in my life that I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want it to sound like a judgment, because it sincerely is not. Because I include myself in this too, as someone who, at different times has been diagnosed with pretty serious illnesses, right? I've had 3 different autoimmune diseases that are pretty serious. Those were all very low vibrational times in my life. Those periods. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease right after my family's business was destroyed in 1990. And that was a real low time. And then I was diagnosed with MS at another kind of low point. And I was under a lot of stress when I was diagnosed with the 3rd one. So, yeah, I mean, I can look to those times in my life and notice that I needed to manage my frequency. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be rainbows and unicorns all the time, but I do think it's important to do energy work, keep your vibration strong. And there's a lot of different factors that go into that. Some of it is mindset, I mean, we talk about that all the time, but your thoughts create your reality. I think sometimes we focus, we have to notice where we focus and where our attention and our intention goes, because it's really easy. Our whole society is built on negativity when you think about it, right? So it's I think it's just about making sure that wherever you are, if you're noticing your health is being challenged, right? You're getting, like, I'm noticing this is my 2nd round of this upper respiratory infection. I've got some energy work to do. I'm going to do it this weekend, right? I have to raise my frequency. And, I mean, there's always reasons to be stressed out, and there's always challenges, and there's always things going on, but the universe gives you these messages, and I think of colds and flu as being kind of a more subtle message about your health. So that's like a knock at your door versus like the more serious illnesses being like a universe is kicking the door in, right? So I don't know if that resonates with you, but I think it's very important to just become aware, I'm very attuned to my body too. Like, my doctor always jokes with me. He's like, Athena, you notice the most subtle changes in your body. Like, other people don't notice such subtle things. Is anybody else like that? Like, I can notice the most subtle changes in my body, and it's almost like I can predict things, And it's other people, though, it takes kind of like a more physical manifestation for them to become aware of health challenges. How do you stay above the lower frequencies with the chimes? Tuning forks have the hertz marked on them. What are the hertz of the chimes? I don't know that we know the hertz frequency of the chimes, do we? There's a tuning app where you can play it and it will tell you the hertz frequency. If you notice, there's no tuning forks for 42 hertz. You know what I mean? Like, all of the sound healing tools are at much higher frequencies. Yeah. They tell you the same thing? Yeah. It freaks me out too, but I think it's a good thing. Those of us who are hyper and, intuitive and very, very sensitive are just that way out in the world. We're that way with our own body and our own health too, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah, and it's true. Lungs are related to grief. Yeah. There's a whole, like, in Asian medicine, they correlate, like, different emotions. Like, anger, I think, affects the liver. Right? And then grief affects the lungs. Because when you think about it, like, grief is a compromising of your own life force. So it makes sense that it would affect your ability to breathe, right?
Mermaid Crystal is asking a really interesting question.
Give it to me.
She said, like Alexis and the music of Grease, but the other side. If we jam out to Snoop Dogg and it's a low frequency, what if the memory tied to us listening is a high frequency happy moment?
That's different. I'm going to tell you something. Everything we're talking about is complicated, and it's multifaceted, right? So if you associate certain intense music that's not, of a high frequency, but if you associate it with a very high frequency emotion, that's different. Remember, emotions are very powerful. Emotions have their own frequencies. When people are first in love and they've got that intense rush of energy and feeling, they usually don't get sick. Have you noticed? They usually look their best, feel their best.
It's so true.
Seriously. They reach their ideal weight. They, their skin is clearer. Everything changes because love is the purest. Love and desire are the most powerful and pure emotions that a human being can experience. When people are grieving and struggling, there's not enough makeup in the world to make that cute. And because they're under a lot of stress, they gain weight even if they're not eating a thing because of cortisol. And so it slows the entire vibrational rate of the body down. So, I mean, these are just scientific truths, right? So yeah, emotions trump frequency sometimes because of how important emotions are. And they have their own frequencies that can transmute. So yeah, I think the emotion, the emotion is more of a priority than the frequency of the sound, for sure. Is fear kidneys? It makes sense. I was always taught that fear is the central nervous system. That it affects the central nervous system, but I don't know. Yeah.
So the Kuan Yin chime,
Mhm.
this is very interesting. It's got similar notes to the fire chime, but in a
Interesting.
different order.
Oh, really?
So the fire chime is GBD, GBD, GA, and then the Kuan Yin chime is GAB, DAG, BD. So it's got some more A's in there. And
Yeah.
I can't remember which note was what.
A is third eye.
Oh, interesting.
mhm.
Third eye, and then GBD.
Third eye, throat, crown, sacral,
Third eye, throat, crown, sacral. Interesting.
but no heart.
No heart.
Interesting. Let's see. Is there a certain sound tool to use for different things, or do they all work equally? It's a great question from Tracy Duffy. I have found that I enjoy certain tools more than others, and I use certain tools more frequently than others. I use the chimes a lot. I'm a big drummer, so I do drum pretty much every day. Drums operate differently, and we'll be talking about drums at some point this year, aren't we? Will we start with sound healing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Drums for me they're an earthing tool. They're very grounding and stabilizing, which is important for me because I spend so much of my time in my upper chakras channeling and intuiting and creating and visioning. And so my drum is very important, or my drums, I should say, are very important for grounding. And I love singing bowls. I use tuning forks, but not as often. I do like to use tuning forks. Like I used it last night, actually, for Zoe and me. I was making tea for our throat, and I used the throat chakra tuning fork in the water.
Smart.
Yeah. So, and I try to be mindful of, like, through my day, are there ways that I could be incorporating sound tools into my practice? But,
Karen said, I just had a visual of Athena sitting behind a drum kit with
Ba-dum-bum.
drumsticks.
Ba-dum-bum.
Like Travis Barker style.
I'm a
or
drummer.
something.
Travis Barker style? Really?
You've replaced all of the drums.
There's this really cool guy on TikTok that I follow that's a drummer, but before he starts his videos by him pouring different colors of paint onto his drums.
Whoa.
Like a lot of paint.
Whoa.
And so then when he starts playing, the paint is like splashing all
That
over
would
the
freak me
place.
out. No, I have OCD. That would really freak me out.
To be there, yes, but to watch it, it's colorful and it's beautiful. Like it almost looks like like a holy celebration or something.
No. That's like Zoe with glitter and shit when she was little. Nope, I'm not. Nope. 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 That's a big zero right there.
Karen's like, I seriously thought that's what she meant.
That's a big no. I wish I could play a drum set.
I have no rhythm whatsoever. I can't even play a shaman drum. I mean, I can, but it's not the best.
Yeah, oh, it's cute. Mermaid Crystal said, "Oh, snap! Maybe that's why I love my Kuan Yin chime, both fire and water."
I
That's
agreed
cool.
with
Uh-huh.
her. Because it's interesting because Mermaid Crystal and I were both saying, like, hey, like, we were resonating with the fire one, but not the water one. And it's like the Kuan Yin one is the perfect
the hybrid.
combination of both. That's so funny.
What's a good chime or singing bowl to play for someone who is sick? I think one area we didn't go into tonight, that's worthy of some exploration, is the relationship between the notes and the organs of the body. That would be my recommendation. And I'm sure those correspondences are out there. I will tell you something. As a healer, what has always worked for me is just to trust my intuition. You know? When I used to do in-person, like, physical healing sessions for people, there was a time even at the old shop where I had a little room. We ended up turning it into a closet, but for a while I had a massage table in there and I would do sessions and the good old days. And I would just, you know, as soon as the person would schedule the session, I would just kind of trance out and kind of feel into it and just let my intuition guide me. I need a water chime, I need a heart chakra tuning fork, you know what I mean, and these stones, and just let my intuition guide me. That's why it's nice to have a collection of tools. You know, and you don't have to go overboard. But we try to bring you a variety of things. And then also, you know, if you're only going to get one tool, like if there's 4 chimes available and you're going to get one, use your intuition to guide you to which one you need to work with. But my intuition's like never failed me when it comes to those things. Like, these are the tools that this person needs. I think that's part of being an intuitive healer and an empath, you know?
It helps to know the frequencies as well.
Yeah, it helps to know the frequencies for sure.
And we'll go over those this year, but...
yeah, not tonight, but we are going to talk about the solfeggios. Yeah, and 432 is just powerful on its own. It really is. It is the God frequency. It's a powerful, you know, and you can go on YouTube and just search 432 and listen to different variations of it, and it's entrancing. Sound is very powerful. It is I think the most important gift that we've been given. You know, we've been given a voice for a reason, and you can use your voice to ohm and to chant and to just tone a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be loud. It's not about the intensity of the sound, it's about just the utterance of the sound. And when you're doing your little homework exercise this weekend where you're sitting or standing and just noticing what's coming from the 4 directions, you might just try using your voice just to kind of ohm or chant or tone just a little bit, or hum. And then turn your head to the different directions, you know, and kind of see if, like, the tone of your voice feels more resonant in the different directions too. You could physically turn your body too. You could hum the north and then turn to each of the 4 directions and see where your hum or your ohm or your chant feels more resonant too. Christiana says, since we are talking elements, you and Randy resonated well. Air and fire. Can you sense others' birth element? I think I can sense elements in people. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure that's a psychic gift. I'm sure. And people would love to know that too. Like, hey, when you check in with me, like, what element do you see coming forward? One of the things I meant to mention to Randy that he talked about recently on Instagram that really resonated with me, and I've been trying it and it works. I told him that too. As he was saying how it's really hard to read for yourself, but it's easy to read for other people. And so he's like, I've been doing this experiment where I've been closing my eyes and asking for answers for myself. You know, just thinking about a challenge or or in this case, not a challenge, but like thinking about an element and then closing your eyes and asking for guidance. Which element should I be working with? And then he's like, just be quiet for a minute. And like instantly water comes to mind. Try it. And you know, when he said that on Instagram, I was like, you know what? He's right. I never do that. I never just ask a question and close my eyes and shut up.
You never shut up.
I never shut up. Except now with this cold, which I'm telling you, I probably will not speak for now for like 3 days. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't do that. And so it was really refreshing to hear him say it. Like, just shut up. Ask a question, just close your eyes and shut up. And listen. And, like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? He's like, it isn't that hard to read for yourself. It's just that we don't have to be quiet and close our eyes to get stuff for other people. At least I don't. I can sit here and channel with my eyes open. But for me, I have to, it's a little bit more of a process. So I absolutely think so. Vanya said, for my last class, I prepared crown chakra crystal bowl, but an hour before class, I switched to root. Isn't that interesting? 10 minutes in the class, I knew why. Energy was spacey, and the root chakra bowl helped. Yeah, can you imagine if you'd got into a spacey class with a crown chakra bowl? These people would be flying high, right? And now you're like, what have I done? And, when I used to, when my kids were in elementary school and I would go and do the music sessions, do you remember that? I posted about it on Facebook when they were little. I always brought drums because those little freaks, they didn't need crown chakra bowls. You know what I mean? They were already like bing, 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 bing energetically. They needed drums and root chakra, and so I was always there to kind of ground them, Those little freaks don't need that. Interesting. So did you try that? Like, what element do I need to work with? Close your eyes, shut up, and see what comes. Why are the letters of the notes not in order with the chakras? I don't know. I don't make the rules. Honestly, it drives me nuts. I don't know. Am I able to see auras? No. And I always give Lori a hard time because the first class I ever took with Lori, I was 17? God, 18. At Psychic Eye, and it was a psychic development class, and the first session was aura visualization, and she talked about it during our session. Remember, look at the wall and all these things? I didn't want to say it to her then. I didn't see shit. I was just like, I can't do this. But I liked her a lot, and I was just like, obviously she's talented. Like, let your vision go fuzzy or whatever, and I'm like, everything's fuzzy, and I don't see shit on that wall in front of that person.
Before I started working at Sage Goddess, I really enjoyed going to the New Age book section in Barnes and Noble.
Oh yeah.
I lived right across the street from a Barnes and Noble at the time, and so I would just kind of go and sit on the little windowsill and read my books. And so I bought a book on how to read auras, and I even tried to practice at home with my little metal hanger. Cause
did you have a crystal time machine? Listen, I'm not making fun of any of this because I do believe people can read auras.
It's just not my gift.
It's just, listen, don't come to me for that. You'll want your money back. Can Lori come back to teach you about auras? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. I think you should just talk to her about it directly. I just don't. I don't have faith in it. I just, you know what I mean? 30 years later, I'm still like, meh.
I believe that it is a real gift.
It's legit a real gift. But I do think I do think that that's weird when they do the aura photographs or whatever. I don't know that I buy that.
And syneth, I can never pronounce it correctly, but synesthesia.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Where you can see colors.
Oh yeah.
So.
No, I believe in it. It's just I absolutely can't do it. Oh, see, Circe says she has a friend who sees auras right away when she meets you.
Kaz sees auras too.
Kaz sees them. Nobody's ever really told me what my aura looks like. Kaz is gonna teach us all how to do it. Circe can teach us.
Someone once told me that my aura was green and turquoise, but it kind of felt like they were just telling me my favorite colors.
Yeah.
Because they knew that.
Yeah, but I think you and I are just aura cynics.
Come on now. I believe it. I
believe I can fly. This is the reason I don't teach everything. Y'all need to go and teach a class on auras, and I'll sign up for it, and then hopefully I won't want my money back.
So Lillian says that I love synesthesia and have it. I would love to hear more about that, Lillian, because I read about it in just a novel, a fiction novel recently, and I just thought it was so interesting. And in the book, the character, she does paintings. She's a famous painter, and she paints songs.
Well, that's
basically, with the
interesting.
colors. And so I Googled it to see if that was a real thing, and that's
It's a
how
thing.
I found out about it. So I would love to hear about it from someone who
Yeah.
actually has it.
Yeah, I would too. Rochelle's asking if I'm going to make nesting singing bowls. So the answer is no. We're not planning to do that. I have seen sets of Tibetan hammer nesting singing bowls. And honestly, Rochelle, like I don't have them, but you can find them. I might be able to source a set for you if you wanted one because, and that might actually be better for your journeys anyway because those are good for body work. They're expensive, but that way, like all 7 of the chakra bowls nest, you know, and you can just put like a silk scarf between each one to kind of make layers. Because I know you take them to your ceremonies and stuff, and that would be helpful. Joanne said her first metaphysical workshop included shape-shifting. I thought they were nuts until I actually saw it happening. Yeah, I mean, I do believe in shape-shifting, and I think I can shape-shift.
Yeah, Lillian said that they remember when you turned into a lion in class.
Yeah.
Bianca Ponte said that the chakra notes go in order of the musical scale from root to crown.
Oh, okay.
So C, D, E, F, G, A, B.
Oh, okay, good. That's helpful, Bianca. See, Bianca straightens us out. That's one of her superpowers.
Yes,
it is. Bianca's always straightening us out. Yeah, a nesting Tibetan set.
Ooh.
Yeah. Would you want like the legit ones? Like they're just expensive as F, you know? But the 7 metal ones, I mean, that's really what you want. Randy was playing my bowl after we logged off with you guys, and he was like in another dimension.
Yeah, he was loving it.
He loved it. Ooh, interesting. Sarah said I have a friend that sees days as colors too.
The gem sale is not happening right now.
No, the gem sale got moved to next Tuesday.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I know what.
Oh, you mean the other Friday gem sale?
Yes, our Friday gem sale is happening right now.
It is, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the
No,
website one, not the live one. The live one got moved to this coming Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was so sick. I literally couldn't talk. There was no way. We'll no, honestly, Bianca, you're a gem. We love you.
We love you.
All right, you guys. Well, that's session 4, and that's March. We're moving into the second quarter of our work here in Living Magic. Hard to believe, isn't it? So, next week we have our live gem sale on Tuesday. And then
I think that's it for next week because you're taking time to do...
Yeah. We don't have anything. We have live crystal readings on Monday.
Yes.
From 4:30 to 5:30. Mm-hmm. It is Brooke's birthday on Monday.
Isn't Brooke's birthday Sunday?
Sunday, but yeah, we're celebrating on Monday.
Oh.
And then I'm taking Wednesday to Friday off because it's my kids' spring break.
Woo-hoo.
And I just want to spend some time with them. My son is turning 16 that Sunday, 31st. So, I know, it just goes by too fast. And I only have 2 more spring breaks with my son after this before he goes to college. It's so nice.
Crazy.
My little preemie is going to be leaving my house before I know it. I literally, I know I sound obsessed with my kids sometimes, but I just love them so much. And I enjoy their company. Some people long for when their kids were babies. I really don't. I love the ages my kids are at right now, and I love talking to them and spending time with them. I love talking to them and their friends. It was really cute. My daughter's one friend asked if she was still my favorite the other day because she had seen me talking to my daughter's other friends, and she's like, she wants to know if she's still your favorite.
Was this her best friend?
Yeah. But I just want to soak up every minute. I'm just realizing how fast it's going by, and it's so easy just to not take time off, but honestly, we're not going to go anywhere. We're just going to stay home and hang out and watch movies, and I'm going to cook, and so nice. And do you have tarot? Oh, you have tarot time on Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Yes, thank you, Karen.
I know you and Nick, Kaz, are lined up with your birthdays. So the discount code, well, there's no, you guys have a standing discount code.
Yes, and that is in your online class.
That's in your online classroom. Or you can use Spark if you want to do free shipping in the U.S. So you have a choice, right?
Yes, Spark for free shipping, or you can use your standing discount code, which is in your classroom that I'm also getting right now, so I can just say it.
Yep.
I keep it there because I.
Oh, and we decided to give the 4 chimes as an enter to win.
Yes. So, if you are, we have your special gift with purchase with code AIR.
Yeah,
So
if you put AIR in your notes.
Yeah. So anyone who puts AIR in their notes between today and midnight tomorrow is also entered to win the 4-element chime set.
Okay. Did you hear that? So not only do you get a free stone with your order if you put AIR in your notes, but you're going to win all 4. One of you is going to win all 4 of the Koshi chimes: Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. So Spark or your member code 21member for 21% off, and you can choose. If you're outside the U.S., it's better to use 21member because you don't get the free shipping. And then if you put AIR in your notes, you're going to get a free air element stone with your order, intuitively chosen, and one of you is going to win the 4 chimes. It's so cool. But that's until midnight tomorrow.
Yes.
So don't forget that. And have a great rest of your Friday, everybody. I know. That's a good one. And there's some cool stuff. There's a couple things I wanted to show you on the website. If you want to stay with me for another minute, or otherwise if you have to go, I understand that too. The Ancestralite is a really interesting stone. Judy Hall actually introduced me to Ancestralite. It's this one right here. Did you see this today? We haven't had it in stock in a long time, and it's for accessing past lives. It's a fascinating stone, and the reason it's so interesting, if you're curious, what Judy was especially interested in, is that it's a stromatolite, which is, one of the oldest stone forms on the planet. And there's one of the stones in Ancestralite is called Martite, and it actually predates Spinel. It's the first manifestation stone to form on the planet. And so Judy Hall turned me on to it, and then I got a rough piece from her source in South Africa, and that's where the little flat stones were carved from. So it's kind of a fun Judy Hall connection. And those are really affordable. And then Desidera perfume is back in stock. That's a manifestation perfume. And then what else did I want to tell you about? Oh, and then did you see that? These are so cute. I don't know if you're a water bottle person.
Oh, the canteen.
But the Living Magic green canteen, I'm trying to pull it up to show you.
It's like my favorite color in the whole world.
Oh, you can see it. Isn't it cute?
Yes, Jared said he's getting one for his desk.
It's so cute. So those are some of the things I would recommend for you.
And the chimes.
Just my 2 cents. And then the chimes. We have all the individual chimes for sale too. Okay, you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Karen, for being there as always. Thank you guys for your patience with me and my coughing today and all the shenanigans. I just didn't want to push class back anymore. So thank you.